Due to my dyslexic, I have made this video with computer voices as because I cannot pronounce some words. Hello, my name is Jimmy Pantry and today I'll be talking about two famous photographers. Siri, would you like to tell me who they are?
Timothy O'Sullivan, Henri Cartier-Bresson.
Cool, right. Um, so so Tommy O'Sullivan,
Timothy O'Sullivan.
yeah, what was his story? What was his history and some photographs and stuff on it?
In 1840, Timothy O'Sullivan was born in Ireland, but in his early years he moved with his parents to America, New York. But this has been in many discussions because of a documentation of a job application for the photographic position with the U.S. Treasury, which it says that he was born in New York, but on his death certificate Timothy's father that which Timothy was born in Ireland. And it took me quite a while, Jamie, to believe that he was indeed Irish, but also many websites also says that he was all American born. When growing up in New York, he started to have interest in photography, and in his teens he got an apprentice in Matthew Brady's Fulton Street Gallery in New York City, and at that time there was a civil war started. Throughout the Civil War, Brady sent a team out to the fronts to photograph the war. In some time later, a man called Alexander Gardner published a book of the Civil War, and he used O'Sullivan's photographs. O'Sullivan left Brady's over about not receiving proper credit to his work. One example of that is The Harvest of Death. In 1863, he joined up with another employer who he worked with before, which was Gardner, who was also worked for Brady. He broken away from Brady to started his own photographic enterprise, and after O'Sullivan left Brady, he went to Gardner and stayed with him to the end of the Civil War. After the Civil War in 1867, there was a geological survey of the 40th parallel by a man called Clarence Kings, which O'Sullivan joined in. This was the first federal expedition in the West after the war. Throughout his time in the Geological Survey, he captured some of the American symbol of nature, like for example Niagara Falls.
Okay, thank you, Siri. Okay, then what about the other one? Will you tell me a bit more about him?
Henri Cartier-Bresson. On August 22, 1908, in Chanteloup, a town in France, a baby was born, and he was called Henri Cartier-Bresson. He grew up to be known as a major artist in photojournalism. He looked into many of the world's biggest events like Spanish Civil War and as well as the 1968 French uprisings. Throughout Cartier-Bresson's career as a photographer, he helped to lay the foundations to a new form of art in photojournalism. When he was just a boy, he got his hands on his first camera, which was Brownie snapshot camera, a simple device to use. Around the 1930s, he traveled to Africa. After he seeing some 20th century major photographers, Eugene, Etchett, and Man Ray, he lived in the bush capture his experiences using a miniature camera. He returned to France after contracted malarial hemoglobinuria, also called blackwater fever. While in France, he purchased his first 35 mm Leica. He preferred to be a silent photographer, so he covered his camera with black tape over the bright parts to make it invisible as much as he can. In some cases, he hid his camera under a handkerchief to make it unseen so there wouldn't be any witness of the photos. In the mid-1930s, he traveled to the US, Mexico, and Madrid to show off his work, and it became a major exhibit on street photography and photojournalism.
Hello, can you get me some of the photographs, what I can reference between the two of them? Or compare between the two of them?
Yes, I can.
However, I quite like this one. This is the one of the trees. I actually thought it was pretty good, especially the way it goes down straight, but goes off on the curve. I thought that was very well shot, as well as the trees are not right in the middle. It's slightly off to the left, and I like the way way he did it was there was a lot of space, a lot of sky. I must say, a lot of sky makes the picture more focused on what he was looking. It was a straight road going down in the curve, followed the path of trees. I thought that was brilliant and very well done. And the next one, ooh yes, this was good. I also noticed that this was a bit more cloudy. As you can see, almost up where the mountains are, it's kind of like so where the clouds were moving or was starting to rain over that direction. I don't know, that's the way it kind of looks like to me. I like the way that he shot, like there was a bit of a frame where one side was covered in trees and slightly goes down this, in a slant and all like a little forest area. Then all you can see is a lovely opened lake, which was quite nice. I quite like it. Then you have the background of it, which is the mountains. Then you have the sky. I thought it was definitely well framed, and you can almost see the difference between the two of them. As you can see, it was very well done, and they're like similar photographs together. They were like well framed, and I thought it was pretty good. So what is the next photographs I need to see? This is one of my favourite photographs. It's the waterfall. It's the way he did the waterfall where you can actually see the whole thing moving. You can see a lot of motion of the water, which was good. It was because back in the days the cameras wasn't the best cameras you can get, and to take a photograph takes about about a minute for one photograph. Imagine trying to stand there for a minute without moving, you will get movement blurs and stuff. But this one, what he took of the falls here was brilliant. It was very well shot. You can see where the water vapour was coming off at the left hand side, and it's brilliant. And going on up, looking up in the photograph right now, it's the way you see the water movement. Yeah, it was great, but everything else stayed still. You have your mountain kind of look at the back, then slightly up from it is the sky. It was very well done. And I don't know, can you notice it, but right in the middle of the photograph, it gives you one kind of bit of a line to look at straight away, then it kind of draws your eyes on up to almost to the very centre. Looks like a cave kind of looking. I thought it was actually nicely planned. It was kind of drawing your eyes straight up to it. Then you can start spreading out to everywhere, so it's not as chaos what it looks straight away. So I thought it was nicely well done. This photograph, oh, I quite like this photograph. This was very well taken. Salman was brilliant the way he did this. It was just like the there and then shot, like it was very well done. He almost touched, like the man jumping, he's almost touching the water and all. I thought it was brilliant, well shot, well timed, very well timed, and especially I love the way you can see the shadow of the water, the way the man is on the water. It's brilliant. And he was like jumping off some kind of ladder. It's great. And I noticed the first thing I looked at was the guy jumping. That was the first thing that caught my eye. Then the shadow, then the ladder, then it went on up a wee bit. It sort of like went round, like almost like a circle. You almost, then after I seen the ladder, there was like wall with writing on it. Then you see some other guide and you look up a wee bit, and there was like a clock tower, and I thought it was very well looked and very well planned out for a moment. That's like a shot of a moment, which was very well done. And my favourite part of the whole photograph is the way you can actually see the shadows of the water, which it didn't ripple as much. As you can see, you can actually see the ripples of the water, which in the previous photograph I showed you of the waterfall, there was no ripples, no nothing, because everything was flowing, and it took about a minute to take that photograph, just that one photograph, which this one was a snapshot just there and then, and it was very well done, very well caught, I must admit.